Hey guys, LEGO here, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing set number 71819, the Dragon Stone Shrine from LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising. So this set retails for £104.99, contains 1,212 pieces and comes with 6 minifigures. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at the build. So this set doesn't include any side builds, so the only build in the set is obviously the main one here. And obviously as you can see, this is a very scenic set, and this was sort of the target direction of this set, was to make it more for older fans of the theme, which is what was said by the set designers, and it's more supposed to be a display piece rather than play. However, there are still some play features within the set. But the first thing I can just say about the set is just it's absolutely stunning. I feel like it's just a great model overall. But if we just take a sort of overall look, we can see the sort of main colour scheme, especially of the stonework, is grey. And there's hints of sort of the olive green pieces to sort of insinuate that it's sort of got some mossy overgrowth all over it, as if it has been there for hundreds of, possibly even thousands of years. So if we just bring the camera in a bit closer, you can see also there is some cherry blossom tree growing from the actual dragon's shrine, and we'll take a look at that first. So I really love how they do the cherry blossom tree here, with a lot of the mix of the light pink and the dark magenta sort of colour, with the hints of white here with these little petal pieces. And I really love the tree work here, how they've got it at lots of different angles, and as well as it sort of is like a bit of a canopy over this rock over here. So it gives it a nice pop of colour, and it's obviously a really standout feature, seeing as the majority of the build is grey and green. So it really sticks out in the build. It's one of the first things you see in this set. And it gives it a really nice scenic look. And I'm not sure if you can see, but there is a little lantern down here, which I believe was introduced with the LEGO Ninjago, maybe those pieces, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, that is a printed headpiece, so that's really cool. And I like the pieces they used, the tree trunk here with some of these horn pieces and a lot of different technic axles to get different angles for the different branches. But yeah, that's really cool. It's probably one of my favourite features of the set, is the cherry blossom. But if we just take a closer look at the dragon build, there's a lot of greebling going on here, just to give it lots of different angles and sort of accents, so it doesn't look all 2D. It's very three-dimensional and very textured. So I really like that about it. And the head is fixed in place for the most part because of the little waterfall that comes from its mouth. As you can see, that goes down to the little pond down below. So that's a really cool feature. And as you can see there, this arm on the left side is articulated, but only at the shoulder in this small little ball joint. So you do get a bit of range of motion here, and on the box art they do sort of display, you can turn the palm up and basically have a minifigure standing in it. So it's just an extra area to basically put minifigures, or you can pretend that it has some sort of puzzle feature, and like when you're playing with it, that it can sort of move around and whatever. But you can obviously keep it static and in one place if you'd like to. So I guess that's kind of like a play feature. But then the second part over here is this sort of rock work here, just sort of like a bit of a atlas or something. I don't know what you would call it, but it actually is on a bit of a tilt, so you can actually move it back and forward. So you can sort of use it as a battle platform. So if we take two of the characters, say Kai and Raz, we could pretend obviously they're battling on it, and it's probably a bit of an unstable outcrop, and obviously it can sway backwards and forwards, and it can create for some really cool dynamic scenes between your minifigures. The only problem here is when displaying minifigures on this side, when it's tilted this way, especially with Kai, how tall his hair is, it sort of clips on the top of the bloody leaves all the time, and sometimes it is a bit of a pain to get the minifigure under there. But as you can see, it can sort of topple forwards and backwards, and that's sort of one of the main play features of the set. But one of my favourite features in this set is the little pond down here. So I'll eventually bring the camera in the set closer. As you can see, there's a lot of translucent blue tiles here, and underneath they've done a bit of a gradient where they've used darker tiles, or plates rather, in the middle. And as you go closer to the banks of the pond, it's a lighter green, so you can sort of figure out the sort of depth of how deep it gets. It gets deeper towards the middle. And there's these really cool koi fish prints on here, which are just on the 1x2 translucent blue tiles. So that's really cool to get, and obviously gives it more liveliness and makes it more of an organic setting with actual creatures in it, rather than being completely plain. And I did accidentally place one in the wrong place over here. It should be over here, I think, and it was too late to basically take over the brick separator, so I just sort of left it. But you do have more access points down here for minifigures from these rounded jumpers, so you can have figures sort of hopping along the pond. So when I display it, I like to have Wu down here, so he's just sort of chilling down in the pond, spreading some wisdom or something. I'm not really sure. So yeah, that's another one of my favourite features. You can obviously see lots of petals all around the build that have fallen from the tree just down here, and as well as on this little stone up here. And you can see more of that cherry blossom actually wrapping around from the top to the bottom here, where they've used this really long trunk piece to sort of show the roots really wrapping around the dragon shrine. And obviously it's sort of invading the rockwork and it's sort of intruding into it. And they achieve that with using a lot of curved and sort of whip-like pieces like the cattle horn down here and this sort of, I don't really know what this piece is called, this sort of tree trunk here, which just sort of curves down and looks like a tree root, so that's really cool. And like the rock work, they obviously use a mixture of different browns, so it's a bit more textured rather than being completely plain. But that obviously brings us to some of the interior, so we can see how the tree would obviously, if this was closed off, just continue to wrap around the back here, so that's really, really cool. But just giving you a close look, you can get a bit of an idea of how the cherry blossom tree looks from the other angle. But yeah, there is a little bit of interior with this set, which is really nice. Obviously, the main focus is obviously the display aspect, but you still have interactive features such as down here. So we sort of have a little tea room down here, which is really cool. And I like to put Euphrasia in here, which is one of the minifigures, but you can see there's some paintings, which are stickered elements, a teapot with some cups, so obviously it really fits for Wu. And in there you can see another print. It's very hard to see, but it's basically a character that looks like Sensei Wu. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to be or not, with a scroll, and there's basically a dragon eating it. So that could be symbolism of something. I actually haven't seen Dragons Rising Season 2 yet, so it could have some sort of significance, or it could just be a decorative print for the set. And then coming down below, there's some more sort of rock work, and I like the use of the jumpers here, so it makes it really easy to basically place minifigures rather than the regular studs. But you can see there's a lots of different scrolls in here, and sorry, I accidentally broke a piece off, which just goes there. But yeah, there's lots of little trinkets, some chi from Chima, a little golden idol figure, a little candle and a little holder, or candelabrum, whatever they're called. And as well, just some little scrolls, which are built up on 1x1 cylinders with the little stamp pieces put in to look like the end of the scrolls. And if we take a close look, you can see that there's a bit of a blue piece protruding here, which is supposed to obviously emulate a book on a bookshelf. But this is actually another play feature, so if you press into that little blue button, basically it pops off part of the rock work from the side, and there actually is a little book on the inside in this little cavity. So there's some little torches here, but you can sort of see how that mechanism works. As I push here, this part here slightly just basically juts out and pushes the rock work off because it's only held on by a couple of studs. But here we have the little book. So this is the modern book piece, so it obviously opens up and there's a page inside. And I would assume that's supposed to be the first Spinjitzu master, or it could be Sensei Wu or anybody really. And he's just sort of standing over some sort of stick that's engulfed in flames, and he is also engulfed in some golden flames there, as you can see. But there's a nice little symbol in here. I'm not sure what it's supposed to represent. It's probably a Ninjago symbol, but yeah, that's another really cool little play feature that they've sort of hidden and tucked away, and it obviously fits seamlessly with the build, because obviously I asked for this as a present for my birthday, and I got it with the intention of obviously just getting it as a really nice display piece, and I feel like it's probably the best display piece from LEGO Ninjago at a relatively affordable price point, but a much better price point than the Ninjago City sets. So it's nice to see that they're branching into much more display focused sets, but also keeping a lot of play focused sets. So that is basically most of the builds summarized, but actually wait, no it's not. There is also a little claw just underneath the cherry blossom tree that can't move other than that, its fingers. But yeah, before we move on, actually I just want to populate this area with some minifigures just so you can see what it looks like with some characters displayed on here. So first I'm going to put Sensei Wu just sort of frolicking down here. I'm going to take his staff off, he's just sort of chilling. So you can get lots of minifigures on this thing. So you can fit all the figures you get in the set, plus more included. More from your own collection if you so pleased. So we got Lloyd up here, just sort of chilling on the rock. Then there is also some stud access points on the top, so we put Lord Ras. We could put Kai down here as well, talking to Sensei Wu. And obviously you got the interior as well. there's much more room for the rest of the minifigures. So just take Euphrasia, put her down here sipping some tea, and Nia sort of investigating a lot of the scrolls down here. So that's just sort of showing you what you can sort of do with this set. It's just mostly just you can populate it with different minifigures, but I feel like it amplifies the display aspect of this set to have it lively with different characters showing different scenes. You can have battles, just sort of having them chilling like I have here. So that is the set, and we're going to move on to the minifigures now. So our first minifigure here is actually a new character for Dragons Rising, and her name is Euphrasia. And she is the new Elemental Master of Wind, because obviously Mora is dead, so she's obviously assumed the place of the Master of Wind. So to be honest, this is probably the most interesting and most desirable figure from this set, because she is exclusive, and all the rest, other than Sensei Wu, aren't exclusive. And it's really awesome to get a new Elemental Master, especially someone that's actually from the show. So as you can see here, she does come with an accessory, which is just sort of like this golden staff, which is just a simple assembly with like this tooth piece and this clear cylinder, which may be supposed to represent her element, just on a stick and a golden hilt. And I really like how mellow and sort of simple her design is, where she's got this sort of blue robe or tunic with white arms and white trousers obviously, but there's this really nice ornate design on the front here, which is just basically outlines of little white squiggles. Obviously it emphasises that sort of cloudy sort of wind texture or whatever of her power. Just with a little gold belt buckle and some more darker blue detailing on her tunic there. And turning her around, she's got more of that sort of ornamentation or ornate design on her back, which is just a nice continuation just to give her a bit more detail. And also she comes with another spare accessory, so she does have this really cool sort of top bun hairpiece, which I think was introduced with some CMF series, but she also has the option of using this white hood. So you have a little bit of customizability with this character, which is really cool. And on top of that, she does have two face prints, which is typical of Ninjago figures these days. So she has this really happy sort of jovial face here, and then turning around she just has more of a generic smile. So I don't know whether this face print is exclusive to her or not, but it's a really nice one to get. I really like the first expression here of her being just extremely happy. So that's a brand new character for the Ninjago series, so let's move on to the next. So our next character, is another exclusive version of Sensei Wu. So I'm not sure whether this design is canon or not, because yet again I haven't seen the second season of Dragons Rising. But this is a nice cool variant of Sensei Wu to get. And he's very different from his previous iterations, where his dominant colour scheme is more this dark brownish maroon colour, rather than just being white. So his accessory is a bow staff, which he uses two of the dragon hilts at the ends on a regular sort of pole piece, and that's really nice. Makes him feel a lot more regal with this design, just because of the ornamentation of the hilts, just make it look more epic rather than using the common bow staff piece. So that's a nice addition to get for him. So as you can see here, he's got his typical beard, face, I'll show you that in more detail in a second. Oh, and his golden sort of conical hat here. So that's the same we've been getting from 2011. And I really like his design here, how it strays away from his sort of typical white robe. He has more of this nomadic sort of brown tannish one. And I assume that's supposed to be a hood on the back here, but there is a bit more detailing, which is in gold. And you can just see his sort of insignia on the back there. So that's really cool how it's reflective as well. But yeah, not really much to say overall for Wu, other than he obviously is exclusive. And I really like this here, how the robe detailing continues over. So you could imagine it's sort of like a cloak, and he's got a little pin on the side here, which is just one of the Source Dragon insignias. And his face is just the typical Sensei Wu from the Legacy set. So not really much to say about him, but a great addition to the set. Next up we have Kai, which is sort of a mashup of just his first season Dragons Rising suit and his hairpiece with the headband. So it's a bit of a shame you didn't get any of the newer figures from the second season, but it's just a bit of a cool variation. Say you didn't have this hairpiece, it's nice to get it here. But yeah, he comes with this cool machete build, which reminds me of the Fusion Blade a little bit, which is just a dragon hilt, an orange stud, and the golden katana piece. So as you can see, I'm not going to spend too long on him, because you've probably seen this figure a lot if you're a fan of Ninjago. But he's got this sort of duotone design where his base colour is the regular red, with dark maroonish red as his accent colour. We've got his little insignia in gold there with a black belt, and I really like the robe detailing of his knees, which is sort of wrap around there like knee pads. And he does also come with two golden katanas, if I could remove them, which do slot in this armor piece / scabbard holder, which is really cool. And they do still use the Dragon's Rising headpiece with the visor as the secondary face. So that's still cool to get, but obviously it doesn't work as well because you're not getting the full mask. But that just again then shows off his back detailing with some sort of flames coming up around the source dragon. Then a similar situation for Nia, where it's a mashup of Dragon's Rising suit with just a headband hairpiece from the Island Wave of sets. So hers is a bit more interesting. I sort of prefer her over Kai just because of the light azure colour and the silver colouring is really cool. I love that duo. And again, she comes with 2 weapons which are similar, which also remind me of the fusion blades. It's just the same sort of build, but instead of using the machete piece, we each got 2 sides here. So those are really cool to get. I really love getting those Dragon Hilt pieces. But yeah, as you can see, she's got a bit more colours going on, or obviously a bit more contrasting rather. Obviously she's got the blue, the grey, or the silver rather, and as well as the maroon belt, which is just sort of like a callback to her original suit from Possession. Then same as Kai, she also comes with 2 katanas, which is slotting her scabbard on the back. And she too does come with the I've dropped the hairpiece, sorry, with the Dragon's Rising sort of visor head print, but again isn't really effective, and I wouldn't choose it as the display option when using these minifigures. But turning her around, you can see she's got a similar sort of design aspect as Kai, where she's got the source dragon symbol with some sort of flowing water around it, but in that silver printing. Then for those who are a fan of the channel, this is going to be a familiar minifigure for you, but this is the Season 2 version of Lord Ras, and one of my favourite minifigures. So he does come with this axe build here, which is quite simple, sort of like half axe arc, half hammer, sorry. So you can pretend the flat piece is the hammer side, and then you've got the axe blade. But again, I really love the purple and black colour scheme here of his character. The only omission that's sort of bad about it is just not any arm printing when the two other versions of Ras do, but still a great figure nonetheless. But I love the wolf detailing here with the light azure colour just sort of as an accent against the purple and the black here. And he's got this sort of robe detailing with some silver printing on top. So flipping him around, he's got the crescent moon symbol with some actual Ninjago writing if I remove the Stone Warrior armour piece that he comes with, which just reveals a little bit more detailing of just sort of that robe detailing continuing over to the back, which is just started on the front there. So yeah. And also he does obviously have his own specifically moulded head, which is also really, really cool. I love how it looks. He's got the little braided sort of Viking beard. You've got some purple face print on his forehead, and you can see sort of his menacing eyes, which sort of like glowing orange, which contrasts completely to the rest of the minifigure's colour scheme, which is really cool, giving him that sort of really menacing look that he's sort of portraying in the show. The only part that sort of sucks about him is that they didn't paint his teeth, but obviously that's okay. You can sort of imagine like his mouth is closed, but yeah, you can see the moulding for the teeth there, but they are not coloured at all. So that is the minifigures, and let's move on to the final verdict.